Littlefinger gets off on scheming about as much as certain governments do as they strip people of their human rights, which is to say, he likes scheming a lot. But what is he actually scheming to do, and why does it probably have something to do with being rejected by Tully women? Well, let me tell you. She's just not that into you, bro. I truly, I don't know what to tell you. Let's cut right to the chase. Littlefinger wants to be king. He wants to be king of Westeros. He wants to be at the highest position possible with all the privilege in the world and with a descendant of Catelyn Stark at his side. Because if the mom won't want him, maybe the daughter will, because ick! So let's discuss how he got set on this path and what he is doing now that he's there to achieve his goal of becoming the king of Westeros. Whoop-de-fucking-do. So the first thing you need to understand about Littlefinger is he comes from very, very humble means. He is the descendant of a Braavosi sellsword who just happened to come over to Westeros and then set up camp after, helping with the whatever battle he was a part of. I don't remember which one it was, I'm sorry. And so it's only been within a couple generations that we get to Littlefinger, and within that time, though they are obviously doing better than a lot of the small folk, they're still very, very modest by lordly standards. They really only have like a very small patch of land in the fingers that is theirs, a very humble, a holdfast castle, whatever it is. And the humbleness of his origins are very important because it becomes the great issue in his life. It becomes the impediment to the things that he wants. And when Littlefinger is denied the things that he wants, he gets angry, and then he wants more, and it spirals horribly out of control for the rest of the kingdom. So we see that begin to happen after he goes to ward at Riverrun. So that is how he gets to know Catelyn Tully, her sister Lysa, and then their brother Edmure. He gets raised alongside of them as a ward. He's friends with all of them. They grow up together. They're playing. It's all a wonderful thing. Then it gets a little more complicated because as they, start to become teenagers, he falls in love with Catelyn. Catelyn is a few years older than him. She thinks of him as a little brother and is like, I'm okay, bro, okay? Now, because he thinks that she might actually, come to like him, he continues to push. He continues to try. Several times, he tries, kissing her, a little more forcefully. And, when they were young, the kids would do, the kissy-kissy game. So, the sisters would both, kiss Petyr, in the Godswood. They were practicing, whatever. And he was chill with it. They thought it was, a fun little, little kid, teenager thing, whatever. But again, he thinks that this is this means true love, and so he keeps trying to push it with Catelyn until Catelyn at one point just fully laughs at him and shoves him off when he tries to stick his tongue down her throat. He doesn't take this very well. He gets really drunk and then has to be carried back to his room. And it is there that complications arise. Because I've mentioned that Littlefinger is in love with Catelyn, but the other issue with that is that Lysa, her sister, is in love with Petyr. And so when he is drunk and when he has been taken back to his room, Lysa basically takes this as an opportunity to go and do some assaults, which he doesn't fight against because in his drunken state, he thinks it's Catelyn. Which is why in the first book, and I think in the TV show as well, Littlefinger tells people constantly that he took Catelyn Stark's virginity because he legitimately thinks that he did. For the longest time, he did not know that he hadn't. Actually, I'm not even sure if he still believes that he hasn't, because I don't know if he believes Lysa, right before she gets, Now, Lysa is so obsessed with this guy that she doesn't even mind when he is calling her Catelyn during this entire ordeal, and then afterwards, he is even more infatuated. And so, when Brandon Stark of Winterfell shows up because he is engaged to Catelyn, Petyr over here challenges him to a duel. The only issue, Petyr is a 15-year-old who is not very good at any of the duel necessary skills, and Brandon is a 21-year-old Stark who has been trained to fight, wolves with his bare hands. But because he's challenged, he's like, yeah, I'll fight you, kid, whatever, sure, you want to fight for Catelyn's hands? Let's do it. And Petyr shows up, he, has very little armor, it's very depressing. Brandon's like, okay, cool. And Catelyn goes to Brandon and is like, please, I beg you, do not kill him. He is like a little brother. He is an idiot. And Brandon's like, okay, I won't kill him. He'll be fine. And so they have a duel, and Brandon keeps trying to let him yield. And Littlefinger's like, no, I can do it. And so Brandon is further and further hurting him because he's like, kid, just give up. You're not going to win this, please. Littlefinger's like, no, love. My love is real. It's not. You're horny and 15. Fucking get over yourself, dude. Finally, though, Brandon hurts him bad enough that Littlefinger can't get up and needs to be like nursed back to health for the next month. In that time, Catelyn is like, yeah, I'm not talking to you, bro. Now, while he's recovering, Lysa is taking good care of him because, she cares so deeply. And then they do the do, and so he thinks that he took the maidenhead, as it's said in Ye Olden times, of both of the Tully sisters. He didn't. It was Lysa twice. But shortly after that, he is then finally sent away from River Run, being like, yeah, I think it's best if you're just, gone for now. And so Littlefinger leaves, and in my opinion, this is where, the seeds of his mania, his thirst for power, grow. Because he was denied the person he loved because of his status, because of his low stature in the society, because he isn't highborn enough for these people. Well, now he wants to be as high in the ranking as you can get. And so shortly after he is sent home, the two Tully sisters, they end up marrying their respective husbands because Robert's Rebellion is in full swing now. So Catelyn marries Ned because Brandon has since, and then Lysa marries Jon Arryn, the elderly Lord of the Vale. And this is where Littlefinger gets his first big break, because Lysa, still has feelings for this guy. She convinces Jon Arryn to give him, like, a nice little job in one of, like, the port cities in the Vale. I do not remember the specifics, I apologize. And it's here that Petyr starts doing what I'm going to say is his MO. The trick that he does, which is what he is doing to slowly climb the ladder and, in his mind, hopefully become King of Westeros. And he's doing that thing where you, like, trade up, where you, like, have you seen, like, people on the internet where they start with, like, a penny or a paperclip or whatever, and you trade it up until you get to, like, a car or a house, whatever. Don't mind me hitting the hat. But yeah, you trade the little thing up for the big thing, and you slowly do it until you have acquired, like, the really, really big thing, and you didn't actually, like, spend anything. That's what he does. That is what this man does. That is what he's really, really good at, and he has weaponized it to fucking climb the ladder of society. So he takes this job that he got from Jon Arryn and is very, very good at it. He increases, like, the money that is made in this, like, little port position, whatever, by a ton. And so he uses that to basically trade up for a slightly better position, and then a better position. And then when Jon Arryn, is in King's Landing as Hand of the King, he gets Lysa to help him get an even bigger position there, until eventually, within I think like 3 years of him being in King's Landing, he is now the Master of Coin. Now, considering where he comes from, his family, everything, that is crazy. The small council positions, like the Master of Coin, that is typically, set aside for the big families, or at least the old families in Westeros. The fact that, like, little Peter Nobody, whose great-grandfather wasn't even Westerosi, has somehow risen to this position that quickly is crazy. Fortunately for Petyr, though, there is kind of a ceiling for him once he hits there, because, well, with the realm as stable as it is, it's hard to, like, climb beyond that, which means the realm needs to be destabilized. Destabilization leads to the shuffling of like, the great houses, the smaller houses, as one family loses their keep, their castle, whatever, can be passed along to someone else who is more loyal, so we need a war. And when Jon Arryn decides that he wants to send young Robert Arryn, his and Lysa's son, to ward away from her, she can't have this and she wants him gone. Littlefinger convinces her to, put the poison in, and then and then he convinces her to write to Catelyn and say it was the Lannisters, because if you pit the Starks and the Lannisters against each other, with the Baratheons, being all out of it, it's going to turn into a war, and war is going to create chaos, and chaos is his context for climbing higher than he currently is. And it is working. Through some of his scheming, he's gotten Harrenhal, and then he's married Lysa Arryn, becoming the Lord Protector of the Vale, and is slowly accumulating these big pieces of real estate that come with real power. And so this is what his ultimate goal is, and what I think his progression is going to be going forward. He is going to use the position he is in to buy a bigger position. And we see the seeds of that now with what he's trying to do with Sansa. So Sansa, he is trying to marry off to the next heir to the Vale. And so ultimately, I think he's trying to consolidate 3 of the kingdoms under Sansa: the North, the Riverlands, and the Vale. He would then marry Sansa and then be able to use that chunk of the kingdom to trade up once again. So he gets to marry his stand-in for Catelyn Stark, he gets the 3 kingdoms that he can use to level up, and then he gets to be king. Okay, good night.